Let's understand about response object in ASP.NET MVC. The response object is a predefined object which contains response data that is to be sent from server to browser. Whenever the browser sends a request to the server, automatically creates an empty response that is represented as a response object. You can add any data to the response by using the methods of response object. All the response that is pulled up on the server will be sent to the browser at a time. The response object is a member of system.web.mvc.controller class, which is the common parent class for all the controllers. So the response object is by default available in all the controllers. The type of response object is system.web.response-base class. Let's understand the properties and methods of response object. The response.write method writes the given data to the response at the server side. If you use response.write multiple times, all the given response data values will be pulled up on the server and will be sent to the browser only once at last. For example, first we have given a response of hello, next we have given a response of world. The pulled up data that is hello world will be at a time sent to the browser as a response. The response.content type property represents the type of content that you are sending from server to browser. For example, if you are sending a plain text, it will be text by plain. If you are sending some HTML content, it will be text by HTML and so on. The response.headers property represents the response headers that can be sent from server to browser. I have explained about the response headers in the video called Introduction to HTTP. The response.status code property represents the response status code such as 200, 302 or 500 etc. For example, 200 means OK or success. I have explained about the status codes in my Introduction to HTTP video. I have created an action method called response example in the home controller. Let me add a view. Right click on the action method, add view. View name will be same as the action method name by default. And click on add button. Let me overwrite this content with the design of the Bootstrap. This is the initial design we have for response example. Create the breakpoint for the action method. So let me go to debug menu, start debugging. We are going to send request to home/response example. So the breakpoint hit, that means the request has been received by the response example action method. And we are going to return the view as response to the browser. In this method, we are going to add a statement called response.write of hello from response example. This information will be sent to the browser as response. Let me execute again by using either start debugging or start without debugging. Presently, I am going to use start without debugging. See, I am going to get the hello from response example at the top of the view. What happens exactly is that since this statement executes first, response.write of hello from response example, that content will be added to the response at first, like this. And then we said return view. That means the result of the view, which is present here, will be appended to the previous message. So finally the result will be look like this. This is how the response.write statement works. In order to identify the content type of the response, we are going to right click, inspect element, go to network, refresh the page. You can see the request to home/response example Then click on content type. The default content type is text by HTML. In case if you want to change it, you can change. For example, I would like to provide the content type as text by plain. So we can add response.content_type is equal to text by plain, which represents the plain text. Then if you refresh the page, you can see the whole bunch of code as a plain text. It is not treated as a HTML code because we have given the content type as a text by plain here. However, most commonly we use text by HTML. Let's add a response headers. This is the list of available response headers. You are able to use any of these. For example, I would like to provide the name of this server. So I have mentioned server as my server. Let me compile and re-execute this. Now if you click on the request, we can notice the server name as my server. In this way, we are able to send any response headers that is valid as per this list. The default response status code is 200, which indicates successfully data has been processed. You can know about all status codes in this page. 1 indicates informational purpose, 2 indicates success, 3 indicates redirection, 4 indicates client-side error, 500 indicates server-side error. For example, I would like to provide 500 as a status code. We are going to add the statement, that is response.statuscode is equal to 500. Let me compile and execute this. Now we can notice the status code that is 500. This is all about the response objects. We have understood all the properties and methods of response object, that is write, content type, headers, and status code.